I'm Aaron Mehta.
And I'm Michael Morrow.
Michael, we're here to discuss what happened at AFA Day 2. We're on the ground in scenic National Harbor, Maryland. A little bit of a space focus today.
Mm-hmm. So to kick things off, we heard from General Saltzman, the Chief of Space Operations, to lead a focus on space modernization, things of that nature. So what are some of the things Saltzman said?
Yeah, the biggest thing is he came out and he said, hey, we're working on kind of a 15-year plan. And the point of this, he said, is we want industry to have very clear guidance, as well as the people in the force to have very clear guidance about what we actually need and what we want. And this will help give feedback. With space stuff, it's very complex technology. It's also stuff that's traditionally been pretty black boxed in a lot of ways.
Right.
And so it seemed like what Saltzman was saying is he's trying to get to a point of, let's be a little more open, let's give you guys clear guidelines, because that'll free industry up to actually develop the technology that we need. It was notable coming from Saltzman. He doesn't give a lot of kind of industry-focused speeches. That's not usually his big focus. He clearly was making an effort with that. And it seemed like it was fairly well received from the audience standpoint. There's a lot of other space stuff, but I actually want to talk about something which is semi-space related. Not
yes,
exactly,
it is.
But it goes
there is some
towards
space overlap.
The Sentinel ICBM, because you had some news out of that.
Right. So Sentinel, of course, is the replacement for the Air Force's Minuteman III. ICBM, that's the land leg of America's nuclear triad. And last year, for those familiar, there was a Nunn-McCurdy breach of the Sentinel program, which required a restructuring. So that restructuring is going on, but I did an interview with Air Force Brigadier General William Rogers, who oversees the whole kind of end-to-end transition from Minuteman to Sentinel. And he said that the Air Force is now aiming to get a new Milestone B decision. This sounds like a jargon formality, but this is an important part of the acquisition process. Yeah. This is when the Pentagon formally signs off and approves something to enter what's known as engineering and manufacturing development. So that Milestone B decision was rescinded last year as part of the restructuring. They're aiming to now get that Milestone B decision on track by mid-2027. A little bit of a notional date because it still requires sign-off from OSD, but that's what they're aiming for.
It's also interesting, this comes on the heels of a GAO report which said, hey, maybe the Air Force should look to extend Minuteman III either instead of Sentinel or at least as kind of a stopgap measure. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, so he framed that as, these are actually two parallel considerations. He's saying that really my team just needed to know what the art of the possible was. He said that, we are going to really beat that date by 2050. That's what GAO said is possible to operate the Minuteman III fleet to, with some risk. But he said, essentially we're just being good stewards. We want to know how long we have, essentially, what the buffer is on the back end, were his words. So again, he views these two things as independent. He's looking to get Sentinel fielded well ahead of that time, but he also wants people to know that it's possible to operate Minuteman a little bit longer, which he said, previous analyses found that they could operate Minuteman to 2045, and he said, hey, let's kick this out to 2050 and see what's possible there.
Gotcha. All right, so now we're going to turn to day 3. A couple of things down. There's a couple of different panels with different weapon systems. The one I'm most looking forward to is the panel on Golden Dome, which is, of course, the missile shield over the U.S., which, there's actually not that much official information out there. We're waiting on an official document to kind of say what this is going to be, but it's of huge interest to industry and it's huge interest to Air Force folks who are trying to figure out how their strategy fits into this overall. So that's something that we're going to keep an eye on. Of course, after day 3, we'll also have a wrap-up video for the whole conference. You can find all of our coverage and our videos on breakingdefense.com. I'm Aaron Mehta.
And I'm Michael Morrow.
Thanks for watching.